Man, sit over here, keep us company. You don't want to sit over here and keep us company? At least, hey, let's go. We are up. Welcome to Family Meeting. My name is Kari, and around here they call me Nino. But come on in, have a seat. We about to get started. Our hope, our focus tonight is going to be on gratitude. It's going to be on our heart, and we're going to pick up that lesson again, and then we hope to get into a little finance. I hope that you learned something that you didn't already know. I hope that you feel a part of the family. So let's do it, man. Let's get to it. We're going to start out with gratitude. We start every meeting out with gratitude. Why gratitude? Why do we do gratitude? We do gratitude because it puts our life in focus, right? It puts everything that we're doing in proper perspective. It is so easy for us to get tied up with life and tied up with, hey, this is mine, this is me, and I'm thinking all about mine, and I want it now. Too much time complaining, man. And if I'm keeping it a brick, if I'm keeping it real, I hate complaining. Complaining gives you nothing. Complaining doesn't change the situation. It doesn't help bring anything that you're trying to reach out for, bring it into focus. Gratitude does. What gratitude does is it puts a microscope from the tiniest things to the largest things in our life. All right. So I don't mean to preach to you, but what could we be focusing on in our life that we need to be thankful for? Thankful for a roof over our head. Did you eat today? Probably did. Thankful for the food, right? Thankful for clothes on our back. Man, some of us are sitting in air-conditioned homes right now. And I'm not sitting in the air-conditioned room right now. So I know what it's like not to have air. So when you get those type of things, we need to be grateful for them. What about the people in our lives, right? How can we lock into the people in our lives? Some of us have our parents, right, who are still alive. We need to be thankful for them. Our grandparents in our world, our children. Our children. Believe it or not, we need to be thankful for them too, right? Thankful that we get to have a relationship with them. Thankful that we get to see them evolve. Thankful that we get to see them grow and do all the things that they get to do. So because of that, we take time out of every family meeting, from the smallest things to the biggest things, to say, you know what, I'm thankful for it. So if I had to choose one thing, it'll be for all of y'all who pulled up and took the time to show up tonight for family meeting. We had all the reasons in the world to cancel tonight's family meeting, all the reasons in the world to say, no, we're not going to do it. But then we thought about it, right? So if it leaps and pulls up live, then we pulled up for the right reasons, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're gonna have it here. And just like Courtney pulled up in the chat. What's up, Courtney? Shout out to Courtney in the building with my family meeting t-shirt. You want a family meeting t-shirt? I got you, man. We'll get you a family meeting t-shirt. We need to have everybody dripped out in family meeting so we'll know what time y'all pulling up, right? In last episode 3, we talked all about Proverbs chapter 23, verse 7. And what I think that we're going to do in the next family meeting is I'm going to show people how to use one of these. My nephew, who I love so much, he's not here tonight. My nephew, KD, shout out to you, KD, had his graduation last night. One of the speakers in last night's graduation had a little frog. He brought up a frog, and he gave the frog to each one of the graduates in the program last night. And it was supposed to be a reminder, an acronym what's the acronym? I forgot that. Fully rely on God. It slipped my mind that quick. Fully rely on God was the acronym for everybody who was there too. And it got me to thinking about you. Got me to thinking about my little ones that's in this room. It's got me to thinking about me. How do we fully rely on God? I mean, the frog was a good reminder to tell you how we rely on God, but how do we do that? What does that mean? Does it mean that I just say bless you when somebody sneezes? Does it mean that, right, I say grace for my food? Does it mean that I just go to church on Mother's Day or just go to church when I'm invited? Like, if my life is really dependent on God, what does that look like? And a better question, if your life is fully dependent on God? What does it look like? What do you need to be doing to have your life fully relied on God? Because I'm going to tell you a secret. I can't rely on God for you. Your parents can't rely on God for you. And for the people who are pulling up to this YouTube, to this channel, to your age group, you're getting on the age where you're going to have to rely on God for yourself, right? Not being able to depend on your parents' faith, but you're going to have to depend on your own faith. So what does that look like? What does that look like when things hit and I can't call my mama, I can't call my daddy, I got a whole wife in these streets, or I'm married now and I got a husband in these streets? What does this look like when you have to fully rely on God? It gets real. It gets real. So I think I'm going to teach in next family meeting how to use this right here, how to use this Bible. What do these numbers mean? Because we have everything on our phone now. We got Bible apps, so we don't even use real pages. But if things got real enough, and I had to fully rely on God, and this thing right here, the battery died, or whatever the case, I couldn't get to it. Or if you like me, you ain't got your glasses on, because apparently I'm unk now. So if you ain't got your glasses on, right, you need to be able to find it in these pages. So if you would, shout out to Nataki. I see you in the building. Much love to you as well. We're doing Proverbs 23, verse 6 and 7. Proverbs 23, verse 6 and 7. And so we're not going to do it tonight, but ordinarily this will be the time when I will allow the people in the room to say the verse, and I want them to memorize it. Why do I want you to memorize it? It's going back to fully relying on God. There may be times when I'm not close to my phone, when I'm not close to my Bible. I need to know what that Bible says, and I need to put it right here, right? So that's how we change aspects of our lives, right? Our lives are hard enough as it is. Just because we on planet Earth, just because we are in the US of A, just because our governmental leaders are already hard, right? We are already hard. Now, you want to make things even more difficult? Do those things on earth without God. You talk about it. Now, if I can't find my phone, I can't find my Bible, what do I turn to? I need to turn the word or scripture that I've memorized, that I've read again and again, that I know by heart, right? I'm not fully relying on what I'm reading. But in verse 7 is what we had to memorize. And in verse 7, if you guys go to it, the part I want to read is, as he thinks in his heart, so is he. As I think in my heart, the thoughts that I think in my heart, how I really feel in my quiet places, right? How you really feel in your quiet places, the stuff that you don't tell anybody, the stuff that you be sitting there thinking when you giving that look like, but the words don't actually come out, but your face said everything your face said everything that your mind was thinking, right? That's how you think in your heart. Those are the personalities. Those are the attitudes. And I'm going to pick up my little demonstration that we did from last week. I even wrote on it this week so you will be able to understand the demonstration a little better. And this is our heart. This is our heart. And inside, if you remember on the cards, are all the different personalities that we have, right? We can have some good personalities where we're sowing good things in our hearts, doing good things in our heart. And it comes out where we're responsible, right? Those kind of things are in our heart. You know what it's like when you're responsible, right? You know what it's like when you quit easily or give up easily, which we have a lot of people like that now. And as soon as it gets a little rough or a little tough, we quit. What about people who are selfish? We talked about that last time. When you constantly have the me, my, it's mine attitude, right? And only thinking about yourself. There are people who have positive attitudes, who refuse to complain. Man, I'm telling you, you want to be my friend quick? I need you to have a positive attitude. If you're the kind of person that has a positive attitude, I'm reading the Amplified, Courtney. If you're the kind of person that has a positive attitude, right, you can hang around me any day of the week. It's in the Amplified. If you're the kind of person that is always lying, I cannot stand a liar around me. Look, You can tell me whatever it is that's hard that you're going through, we can work out whatever it is. But just keep it real. Keep it a brick, keep it 100, and don't lie to me. But these are the kind of things that can get into our heart if we allow them to, right? And it's so easy for our heart to tell off, and it's so easy for these things to get into our heart. So, Nino, Kari, I got these selfish things in my heart. I got a lying tendency kind of person who I am, but I don't want to stay like that. The good thing about fully relying on God, the good thing about this word, the good thing about the Bible is we get to change, Courtney and Taki, Zoe, we get to change what goes in here. All right, Kari, if I can change what goes in here, how do I do it? I'm glad that you asked me. That's a very good question. And I'm going to tell you how we do it. We do it by every day practicing what it tells us in the Word of God to do. That's how we begin to change what's in here. Now, when circumstances are going on, right? Let's think of a really good example of stuff that you can't change. You can't change going to school. You have to go to school, right? The government requires you to go to school, to stay there all 8 hours, to go to your classes and not skip your classes. I'm looking at you, right? Those are the kind of things that we can't control. Things our parents have us to do and make us to do. We can't choose our parents. We can't choose the people that are in our lives. Those things are out of our control, right? So how you change the things in your heart is by controlling your controllables. When it rains outside, right? Let's go weather for example. When it rains outside, nobody has ever gone outside and say, you know what? I didn't want it to rain today. I had plans today. I was going to the park. I was going to pull up and put up 30 on everybody's head. That's what I had in my mind I was going to do. Or I was going to the park. I was going to chill with somebody. And man, now it's raining outside. What you can't do, and I don't care how hard you try, is stand outside, look up to the sky and say, stop raining. You can't change outside. You can't change all of the circumstances around you. What you can do is, I can't change what's on the outside, but I can go get me an umbrella. I can change what I can do on the inside, right? I can't change everybody around me and get them to stop lying at me, but I can change the person and the heart that's in me and start doing what I do differently. So that means is, if I got to go get me an umbrella now, if I got to go get me an umbrella now and change how I see everything around me, I can't stop people from lying to me, but I can stop telling people lies, right? I can't stop people from having an attitude, right, being short with me when I go through the drive-through line and they telling me off or cussing me out. I can't do that, but I get to choose how I respond to them. I get to change what I put into my heart, which in turn changes my view and my prospect of the world. See, everything that we're going in through, we really are living in a season and living in a time where things are difficult. And they're even more difficult for you because you have everything on social media. It's even more difficult for you because you don't have the schools teaching you some of the basics, which is why we're doing family meeting in the first place. It's more difficult for you because some of your friends and the people that you're hanging around are telling you like, yeah, this is what you need to be doing. This is how you need to get down, right? And all of the culture is getting into you and saying, you know what? I got to have twists in my head just because everybody else can have twists. I got to wear a wig just because everybody else is wearing a wig. I got to have cut off jeans because everybody else is having cut off jeans. You don't have to be conformed to everything that everybody else is doing, right? At some point, we have to be responsible for our own heart. At some point, we have to be responsible for what goes in here. And at some point, we have to say, you know what? I don't want to be the kind of dude, I don't want to be the kind of girl that is disrespectful whenever my teacher says something to me. right? I can be the kind of person that says, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, right? I can be that kind of person. I don't have to wait till everybody else changes. I can get my umbrella now. I don't have to be the kind of person that quits easily. Please stop quitting. We can do this. Christ is in us. We can do this easily. So when I get to that Algebra 2 homework and it's hard the first time, all right, I don't want to be a quitter no more. I got my umbrella. Hold on, I'm about to get my umbrella back out. I don't want to be a quitter. I got my umbrella. I can't change everybody else from quitting, but maybe instead of me quitting like everybody else is, maybe I can put something different in my heart and say, okay, I'm going to get me a tutor. Okay, man, the tutor still didn't help. Okay, maybe I'm going to go find a friend who I see is making A's, and then I'm going to go in there. Or maybe I'm going to go look it up on YouTube so I get different people telling me the same information about the same topic, so I got different points of view on the same topic. But I'm doing everything but quitting. I got my umbrella out. I can't change my environment, but I can change my perspective and how I look at it. All of this matters. All of this matters. So we are changing our heart. We are changing what goes into our heart, because what goes into here determines how I do everything else out in the world. Your heart becomes your lens. Your heart becomes your focus to how I view and how I picture everything else in the world. So I want to encourage you and let you know that you can do this. You can change the things that goes on in your heart. You can change your world, change your environment, not by changing them, but by turning that finger back in and changing you. Changing one aspect about your world that you want to see different and changing that, right? Be the leader that God has called you to be. Be the person that God has called you to be. And don't be afraid to go out and do the things that you want to do. And there it is. I better put your umbrella back in your car. All right, baby, I'm going to put your umbrella back in the car. I got you. You funny. Look at all the people in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Where's Michaela? I don't see her here. I need Michaela to join in. Where's the Zoe lady? She needs to be on here joining in as well, helping me out. All right. So we're going to switch gears. La Familia. We're going to YouTube. We're going to switch gears. And we are going to our PFS. Now, in the chat, who can tell me what PFS is? In the chat, who can tell me what PFS is? In the chat. In the chat. If you tune in just for the, oh, I got Michaela in the building. Let's go. We can start now that the MVP is here. Thank you. My wife is chiming in. It means personal financial statement. What's a personal financial statement? It's how you're going to be monitored of how you're controlling and moving your finances. All right. That's your personal financial statement. And if you remember last family meeting, episode 3, go back and watch it. We talked about being asset focused. What is asset focus? Asset focus is when I am using my money to be focused on how I bring in assets. And for lack of better examples, this was the only thing that I can think of, but I still think it's an appropriate example for you to understand. So in food, this is how you need to make your plate. You get hungry, you're going to go make your plate. All right. A healthy portion, right, is filling half your plate up with veggies. All right. Then you got to break in your carbs over here, and then you want to get plenty of protein. You might be one of those people who, you know what, I want to load up on my protein. I'm trying to get swole. So your protein may cover more here, and you have less vegetables and no carbs. But being focused in here tells me how I want to do it. Well, if we apply this same analogy if we apply this same analogy to how we're doing our finances, right? We want to be more asset focused. What's an asset? Tell me what's an asset. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. That's right. YouTube, it is something of value. That's exactly what it is. So So I want to accumulate and be focused with my money. How can I spend my money and spend it on things that have value? So we talked about our basic level of assets, right? This level 1, I'm gonna write this a little bit better. So this is level 1 of asset accumulation. All right, this is just you starting out in the game, and this is a lot of y'all, right? All of my early 20-year-olds, my teenagers out of high school. This is all of you all. I'm starting my basics. Okay, I just started working. I'm top notch in the game at McDonald's. They got me working $10 an hour, right? $10 an hour. 40 hours a week. That's 400 a week if my math is mathing. All right, 1,600 a month. What I'm gonna do with that? What I'm gonna do with that money? I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do with it, YouTube. What you're not gonna do is go cash your check and be putting it upside your ear talking about we got big bank. We're not doing that with it, right? We're not rolling a knot and walking around with a knot inside our pocket. We're not doing it like that, right? Because we asset focused. Asset focused people, asset focused, we start putting it into our checking and our savings accounts. But because the reason we put it in our checking and savings accounts is because we got to be able to move money, right? When we see something of value, if it's in your checking, if it's in your savings, then we know how to move, all right? We know how to acquire assets. We can wire from there. We can transfer money from there. We can do all the things we need to do if it's here in our checking. All right. So you got paid. You got $400 sitting in your checking. Congratulations. Now, as your income comes in, we're not going to go back and watch episode 1 if you want to see how to do our income and our expenses. We're not focusing on income and expenses. Normally, I would go over the income and expenses, and there's going to be time when we go over our income and expenses. But for this season, I want us to be so driven on when money comes in, how am I putting it somewhere of value? And on this basic level, if you don't do anything else with your money, if you don't do anything else on the basic level, when your check hits here, we want to put it in something that's called a high savings. All right, Google that. Google this. Free high yield savings account. All right, Kari, what is a high yield savings account? So if I went to my bank, Wells Fargo, if I went to Bank of America, if I went to First Tennessee, if I went to Chase, right? I go to these banks. When I go in, they're gonna say, "Hey, Mr. Goodwin, how are you? Hey, how are you? We can open a savings account for you. Thank you very much. I've been wanting to save. I heard this bald-headed guy on YouTube talk all about saving money, and he told me I need a savings account." So when I walk in there, they're going to say, "You know what? That bald-headed guy was right. You do need a savings account." And they're going to say, "We're going to open up this savings account for you right now." Now, they're going to tell you that we got the perfect account for you. This account right here on this savings account gets you an interest of 0.002%. And you're going to be like, "Yo, thank you. That's exactly what I needed. And I want to start building in what I'm doing." And you're going to walk out there and you're going to take $100 out your next check and you're going to put it in here and you're going to have $100, right? And you're going to come back the next month in June, you're going to have $100.01. And then you're going to come back in July. You're going to come back and check your account and be like, "Man, I put this $100 in here. I want to see what it's doing. It's supposed to be accruing or doing something, and it's going to be $100.02. And you're going to be like, "Man, what in the world is wrong with this account? I think it's broken. Hey, Mr. Chase, y'all gave me the wrong account. I wanted the one that actually accrues the money on my account." That's not the ones that they advertise for us, right? Most of the stuff, and we're going to see in a minute when I get to this debt side, most of the stuff that they advertise for you, for me, for us, It's not really to help us, which is why we got family meeting in the first place, so I can tell you what you really need to know so you can be on game, right? So when I go to this free high yield savings account, did I mention that it's free? You link it up to your checking, and you want something that's in this range, 3 to 5%. You want it in that range, and that's considered a high yield savings account. Now my same $100, when I go back and check in June, it's gonna be $100 and it's gonna be 5 cents. When I go back and check it again in July, it's gonna be $100 and it maybe $101 now. When I go back and check it in, so now instead of me getting cents every month, I'm going to be getting dollars, right? We want this to start gradually accumulate as we do it. Now, this is the basic level of your assets. This is the basic level. We hadn't gotten the life insurance. We hadn't gotten the stocks. We hadn't gotten the real estate. We hadn't gotten the crypto. We hadn't gotten to any of those things because I want y'all to have the basics. Make sense? YouTube, hearts in the chat if it makes sense, YouTube. Hearts in the chat if it makes sense, YouTube. Help me out, please. Hearts in the chat. So we're not going to level 2. Now, I'm getting hearts. Are y'all doing the heart icon or y'all just hitting the heart? There you go. Give me a thumbs up. Hit the emojis for me. So now we did level 1 on assets. We're going to do level side. All right. So this is the one thing that I want you to be leery of. Let me go back, make sure I finish this right here. So if you put in Google free high yield savings, you're going to see banks like Capital One, Ally Bank, American Express. There's another one that starts with the letter M that's escaping my mind right now, but don't worry. What's the name of that bank? I can't think of it. It's escaping my mind. But you're going to see different banks on there that's going to be free that you open this account. What you do is link it to your checking account so that when you get paid, when your income comes in, what you have here for your bills is not how you pay yourself. What you have here is how you begin to pay yourself, how you begin to set it up. And if you're working hard, this $10 an hour at McDonald's, going hard every day, showing up on time with a good attitude, right? Working hard, then you want to be able to compensate for your hard work. All right. And paying bills is not how you compensate yourself. Being asset minded here is how you do it. Now, this $400 that you got in your account that you put in here, what you don't want to do is be here. So here's the difference between asset focus and being liability focused, which a lot of us are. Because here's what we do a lot of times. Especially for my newly graduates, for the ones who are going to school, for the ones who are about to be on the campus, they have made it way too easy for you to be able to borrow money. Way too easy for you to be able to borrow money. I'm going to say that again. It is way too easy for you to borrow money. As a matter of fact, for somebody to give you money, you should be leery of it, right? If you see, here go the beware. Put this on the thumbnail. The bewares. If you see fast cash, run. If you see no credit checks, run. If you see, what's the other one? Easy. Easy money. Now, if you understand, they have them on the billboards, they have them on the signs. A lot of times they have them on the commercials in between your YouTubes, viewing. So if they're trying to just hand you cash, So what they're saying is, if you can't pay your bill, what we're going to do is give you cash to be able to pay your bill. Why is this a bad thing, Kari, and why do I need to be running? Because, now, I'm going to tell you why you need to run. Check this out. If I got the banks who's supposed to be on my side, setting me up with a savings account, giving me 0.02 in interest, right? Does that make sense? But if I have to borrow money to get a car, if you got to borrow money to get a car, what you get an interest rate for? 10%? If I have to get a credit card, I want a credit card, I want a Visa, I want a Forever 21 card, they're gonna charge me interest 28 to 30%. If I want fast cash, easy money, what's called a payday loan, if I want a payday loan, they're gonna charge me anywhere from 300. This is not an exaggeration. This is not an exaggeration. Anywhere from 300 to 500%. Now, if I want a house is a good one. They're gonna charge me anywhere. I think you can get a house now for 7%, depending on what your credit is. If I want to, what's the other people? Cash App will even let you borrow money. And they don't have interest, but they're gonna charge you a fee. Now, even if we don't have real numbers on here, lean in YouTube, even if we don't have real numbers on here, and we just look at the percentages of what I'm being charged. Now, if I went into a bank and somebody sat across the desk from me, smiled real nice, offered me a savings account with a straight face, they would offer me 0.002% with a straight face. If I went to this same bank and said, okay, I'd like for you to finance a car for me. We got you again, sir. No problem. We'll be able to finance that car for you. Your score is high enough. We're going to charge you 10%. Now, how is it when I put money in this bank and I wanted to grow, I'm at 0.002. But then when you want interest on the money that I borrowed from you to get your car, you want it back at 10. The math ain't mathing. The math ain't mathing. I want a credit card to be able to go get me some Chipotle, get me some clothes, right? They putting 28 to 30% of the interest on what we're doing. And hopefully you're never in this situation where you was in a car accident, in this situation where you needed money real bad, couldn't pay your rent, couldn't go to work, or I got sick, or whatever the issue is, and I needed $1,000 as quick as I could get it. And the payday people said, you know what, we'll offer, here's $1,000 right here, go pay your rent. But when they want it back, they want $3,000 back. Now, how do if I didn't have the money to pay $1,000, make it make sense that I got enough money to pay you back at $3,000. The game is not set up for you to win unless you are playing the game by different rules. Not the rules that they set up, but the rules that allow you to win, which is what we were trying to teach. If we are liability focused, we'll start racking up on cars and credit cards and payday loans and getting new houses and going just cash shopping everything, right? And we'll be this one too. This one is the real one. Furniture. If we're liability focused, we'll be racking up on getting these right here. We don't want to be liability focused. We want to be asset focused. Now, is anything wrong with getting a car? No. But what if, right? What if I'm working these hours? What if I'm working these hours and I put $100 in my account in May? I come back and do it in June, July, August. And let's say I got now in this account, I've been doing it for a while. My interest accumulating. Let's say that you done saved $1,500. So now, if I want to go do some of this stuff that's over here, I got the money to do it. And you can open up as many of these high yield savings accounts as you want. You can have a savings account for emergencies. You can have a savings account for a car. You can have a savings account for vacations, right? Not a family trip, but a vacation. If you know, you know. You can save up money for all these things to be able to do the things that you want to do and just use it to have cash. Now, the ultimate goal is what we want to do is when we really start putting some numbers on here. I want y'all in the chat and at home, this is the last homework that you'll have for this week. I want you to, number one, here's your homework. Here's your homework. YouTube, your homework. I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to go back and follow up on it to see if Kari knew what he was talking about, if he's telling the truth. The bank that you have, where your checking account is, the bank that you have, go in and hit on there, hit savings, and then go in and hit account and see what the interest is. See what it is. Come back and put it in the chat just so we can compare it. Come back and put it in the chat. And then I want you to Google free high yield savings, and then go and see what you're able to find between we want to save in these, right? We want to save in these because we can get to our money if we need to get to it, and it's accumulating interest. Just like they play the interest game on their end, we can play the interest game on our end. All right, does that make sense? All right, so your homework, go in and look to see what the interest rate is for a car, for a credit card, for a payday loan. And I actually think I may be too low on this payday loan. It may actually be higher. For a house, for the fees for cash out, oh, and furniture. Furniture will have your interest rate at 50%. And then telling you to pay $2. You can get this whole couch for $2 a month. And I'm like, yeah, I got me a couch for $2 a month. But you're going to be paying $2 until you as old as Nino on this couch. and it's going to be, the couch is going to be gone by the time you finish paying for it, all right? It's funny and not funny all at the same time. So we want to be asset focused. We don't want to focus on liabilities. So your homework is to go in and to compare these percentages, all right? When we come back in next week, we're going to dive further on this liability side because I want to put actual numbers to these percentages. So hopefully you do your homework when you come back. Hopefully we have some real numbers and we'll be able to plug and play so we can see the differences in these, all right? We want to build on our personal financial statement step by step. We want to be aware of the liabilities, not picking up too much of these just because we want to flex with everybody else. A real flex, I'm going to tell you what a real flex is. A real flex is having money in your account to do the things you want to do and paying cash with it. That's a real flex. All right. I'm not going to stay on there anymore. I love all of y'all. Y'all don't know how much y'all made my night tonight by pulling up the family meeting. So if you really want to show love, hit that like button, hit that share button. If you really want to show love, put it on your Facebook page so we can pass the word and help our community to not fall for some of these tricks and do better. I love y'all a whole lot. Till next time.